Point that toe back the other way. Being mindful not to move through the hip too much or at all, or move through the knee. Just the ankle. Same again. Out to the outside. Through the point. You see, I'm just giving myself little bits of tactical feedback to try and stop the compensations. Lovely. Other knee. If you've got me on the big screen, you probably see this disgusting knee, but it is pretty good for showing you internal and external rotation of the knee. Hands at the back, okay? Pull those toes up. External rotation using the outside hamstrings to pull down. You can see that going. Build it up. And then using the stuff on the inside hamstring comes back towards the middle, all as one piece. And then starts to rotate to the middle, okay? And then back. Some of you, as you start to come back towards the middle, will just move the toes, and then the knee catches up. Try, connect so that the movement is coming from the knee rather than the big toe. How do you do that? Well, focus on these hamstrings. External rotation. Internal. External. Lift up. Ankles. So I have to work a bit harder on this one to stop doing this. Toes up. Eversion outside. Keep going through the point. All the way up to the middle. Back the other way. Inversion. Through. Back up. Biggest circle you can do. Constant tension through the ankle. Nice. So everybody sat down on the floor, point your toes. Keep pointing them as you start to bring the knees in towards you. And you stop when you get the 3 points of contact on the floor. The ball of your foot, the ball underneath your little toe, and your heel. Okay? From there, without rolling your feet, I want you to try and lift all your toes off the floor. Make sure that you keep the contact. Put them down. Big toes down, little toes up. Down. Little toes down, big toes up. Try not to roll the feet. Keep your hands in. Down. All toes up. And then try and put your little toe down first. Like fingers on piano keys. All toes up again. 3 points of contact there. Down. Big toes down, little toes up. Little toes down, big toes up. All toes up. And then spread them. Right. That's your cards. Well done. Well done, well done. So that's full body cards. What we were doing last week is we were doing some shoulder protraction stuff. So I want to go through that again. We've been doing it from an all fours position. And the reason for that is because I just know that everybody can do that in terms of an equipment thing. Why do we want to do shoulder protraction, or what are we trying to achieve? So it's that movement that I got you to do there. So the shoulder blades are wrapping around the rib cage. That shoulder blade should, on your rib cage like this, should slide around like this. Scapula is a bit of a floating joint, okay, so it doesn't have any like hard like a knee. There's definitely two bits to it, okay. So it can be a little bit elusive, but this is one of the ways we're going to bring a little bit of sensation. So we've got protraction with those shoulder blades, and then we will do some retraction, which is more, you know, shoulders back, that kind of thing, okay. So everybody can get into an all fours position, and I'll just waffle on, and I want you to try and find your end range of shoulder protraction. So you can imagine that you have a pint resting on your lower back. So you're not going to round up too much through the low back, because that pint would spill. So that stays flat. But what we will do is punch our hands into the floor to make the upper back rounded. Okay. Now you will have some spinal flexion there. So there will be some sort of curving of the spine. But by punching into the floor or pushing the floor away from you, you will bring the shoulder blades into protraction, which is where we want to train at that end range. Okay, everybody can get there now, and I will just talk about the pails and rails. So obviously you're fighting against gravity here, so you can't like fully relax, but we do want to make sure that you're not over squeezing just now, and that you are trying to work yourself to your end range. So chest as far away from the floor as possible, and then hanging out while I explain pails and rails. Pails and rails are directional forces, but we normally do them, or always do them, as an isometric. So there's not actually, there is direction to the force, but there's no actual movement of the body. Okay, so you're chilling out here. Our pails contraction, when we do it, we will dial up intensity from 0 up to about 60% and hold for a fairly long time on the first set, whereby we're using all the muscles that would help pull your shoulder blades together. But like I said, because it's an isometric, you're not going to move from where you are. So it's just a sensation in the muscles that would help you pull those scapulars together. So that's the pails contraction. The rails contraction is using all the stuff on the front of your body to help you push more or to pull your scapulars further. So you'll be pushing into the ground harder and trying to take your chest away from the floor even more. Again, we will dial that up and then hold it, and then we will probably go again for a second round. Okay, so everybody's been chilling out here, pushed up into those shoulders, feeling fairly rounded through that upper back. I want everybody to take a breath in. Without moving, I want you to now connect with the stuff that's going to help you pull your shoulder blades together, and give me 20% effort trying to do that. Remember, it's an isometric, so you're not going to move, but trying to feel the direction of force pulling your shoulder blades together. 40% effort. If you're coming back to this for the first time, this is throwing you in at the deep end. 60% effort. It's almost like your hands are going to start to feel kind of light on the floor. Stay in that end range. Hold at 60. 15. Keep trying to pull together. 6, 5, 4, 3. Take another breath and push your hands into the floor even more. Take that chest away from the floor even more and try and get those shoulder blades more wrapping forwards towards the front of your body. 40%. Hands heavy in the floor now. 60 and hold. Really pushing those hands into the floor, trying to wrap the shoulder blades around the body, thinking about all the muscles in the front of your chest contracting. That helps pull them. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay where you are. Dial down the intensity. Just relax muscles. We're going to go for a second round. Go back to the pails movement. So probably now, as we try and take that chest away from the floor, you will find that you have a little bit more room. It'll feel like you've got an access to more space. I want to train in that new space now. Take a breath. Make sure you're at your end range. Start to connect with all the muscles that would help you pull your shoulder blades together. 20%. 40%. 60%. Can start to shorten your breath now. Bring the rest of your body up to 60% effort. So push your legs into the floor. Brace your abs as if I was going to come and kick you in the stomach. I need to be able to break my toe. Pulling those shoulder blades together, even though you're not moving. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Take a breath and drive the hands into the floor. Take the chest further away. Let the scapulars come forward more. Stuff in the front of your body here is pulling those shoulder blades forward. The Batman muscles, the ones that look like bullets. Keep pushing into the floor hard. Hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Dial that intensity down. Stay where you are. 2 breaths. Just loosening up, and then see if you can push into a little bit more passive range. and relax. Okay, back to where we started at the beginning with scapular control. I want to now put that into a more complex movement. So we're going to do some more shoulder circles, a little bit higher intensity so you can squeeze your fists. Careful not to swing the arms. You can do this from standing, that's fine. Particularly focused on bringing the shoulders into protraction, wrapping those shoulders together, okay? That's what we just trained. So bringing them forward, much as you can. Make sure you spend the extra second. Lift them up to the ears, keep them forward. Let them come back down to where they came from. Now squeeze together. So doing a little half wrap. Forward. Elevate. Down, but still in that forward position. And back to neutral. Last one. Protract. Not from the body, from those shoulder blades. Using this stuff at the front. Elevate. Down. Retract. Well done. Okay, so this is where you might need blocks for the first time. Depends on how much shoulder room you've got. Some of you who don't have a lot of scapular retraction will be fine on the floor, okay? The setup, and everybody can sort of have a go at this while I'm, you can be in this position just stretching while I'm waffling on again. So face down, first position, first port of call, probably into a sort of press up position. If you're finding it easy to get your shoulder blades to squeeze together there, try going onto your fists. And if you're finding that easy, that's when you can start building yourself up onto your yoga blocks or onto a couple of novels of a similar sort of height, okay? If you've got even more room than that, it just shows you that you probably just need to get some yoga blocks because they're a bit more versatile, okay? Your forehead wants to be on the floor. Your chest wants to be relaxed. And the idea is that you are taking your shoulder blades passively into as much retraction as you can get out of it. Now, I don't want you to freak out too much. Like if you feel like you've got loads of extra room and you just haven't got access to these today, don't worry, there's still work to be done, okay? Pails and rails is now the opposite of what we just did. So you're going to remain with your shoulder blades together. Your pails contraction is to imagine all the muscles that would help bring the shoulder blades forwards again, sliding round the rib cage. Normally means good help is to push into the floor, but with the intention of bringing the shoulder blades forward, okay? Not just to push up, but actually wrapping round. The rails contraction, which we will do second, the regressive tissue, will be to try and squeeze the shoulder blades together. That will make your hands feel light on the floor. You don't need to lift them up, okay? If they do come up because you pulled your shoulder blades together loads, that's great. What we don't want to do is just lift the elbow, okay? So there's a difference between retraction of the shoulder blades and pulling together and in, rather than a lifting up of the elbows. That would be more shoulder extension. We're going to get to that in a bit later, okay? So everybody face down if you're not already there. Try to find what is end scapular retraction for you. I'll give you an idea. For me, it's like here. Head down, chest relaxed, so that you don't feel like you're like a seal. All right, so you don't feel it in your lower back. Take a breath. Allow those shoulder blades to come together. Now I want to try and connect all the stuff that would help bring those shoulder blades and wrap them round towards the front of your body. That does mean that you're going to get some contact with the floor, so you're going to feel like you're pushing into the floor a little bit, but it's a wrapping around the rib cage. Build that up to 40% now. 60% and hold. Bring the rest of your body to 60%. So squeeze your legs together, squeeze the buttocks. Shorten your breath. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now we go the other way. Try and pull your shoulder blades together more. In towards the middle. If you had a pencil between your shoulder blades, you're trying to snap it in half. Hands should start to feel light, up to 60%. Really squeeze. Careful that the shoulders don't start lifting up towards your ears. Keep them in your middle of your back. Keep squeezing together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Dial that down. Just while you try and allow yourself to go down into some more space, it's worth saying when we say 60%, it's 60% in the target tissue first, then bring everything else. If you just turn it on like a light switch, there's a chance that you might miss the intention. Second round, shoulder blades together. Think about all the muscles that would help bring those shoulder blades forward like we do in the circles. Those are the ones we want to now load. 20% trying to wrap your shoulder blades around your shoulders, around your rib cage. 40. Hands are heavier in the floor. 60 and hold. 5, 4, 3. Switch the direction now. Pull those shoulder blades together. 40%. Hands should feel a bit lighter now. 60. Bring the rest of the body to 60. Squeeze the bum. Try and maintain consistent tension. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dial that intensity down. Out you come. And then let's download that new space by putting in a more complicated movement. So the circles again. So we'll do half circles going backwards. Retract. Elevate. Depress. Forward. Should feel really kind of different across your shoulder blades now. Retract. Elevate. Depress, still retracted. Forward. Retract. Elevate. Down. Forward. Okie dokie, keep going. So that shoulder blade's got a little bit of room there. Lovely stuff. We have been doing external rotation of the shoulder. So again, you will need your blocks perhaps, or if you've not done this one before, because you weren't here last week, you'll know, it can give you an idea of whether you're going to need an external tool, and you can do it like this. So you can do this from standing or kneeling. You take your hand from here, level, at 90 degrees at the elbow. Start to work it backwards towards the wall behind you. If you sort of run out of room before you get past your ear, okay, and you'll know you've run out of room because it will feel like a hard stop, and then you'll start to lean back in your back, okay? If you stop before there, you probably don't need anything, okay? If you can get past your ear and start working backwards, okay, into more external rotation, you may need an external cue in order to take you into enough passive stretch to feel it at the front of your shoulder. Now, I know that we've got a couple of people today that either shoulder injuries or somebody has a human in the way of what they're doing. So you don't have to be lying down on the floor, guys, okay? If you don't have a huge amount of range or you're just concerned about hurting baby, then you can do this on the sofa, all right? And the way that you would do that is kneeling down. You may need an external aid. You put your arm on the, okay? And then you can lean forwards from there and take yourself into the external rotation that you need. Okay, from there. I hope that's sort of helpful. All right, you can do this one at a time, or you can do it on the kitchen table. All right, not a problem. Okay, it's the same thing. Everybody else will be face down, and you can do that now. Try and find the passive stretch for me in the front of the shoulder. Because we're doing some rotational efforts now, we need to talk about closing angles. So when we're doing this, and you're face down, you're finding a position that's stretching in the front of the shoulder, okay? That's this stuff here. If you're feeling this in the back and it's a pinching, I would class that as a closing angle joint pain. First port of call there would be just to reduce the amount of stretch that you're looking for. Take it down, or maybe just go to the floor. If it persists, then I would just watch this. I apologize, bad class for you, but it's a good thing that you know about that, because then we can then start to talk about how you can solve it afterwards, okay? You can then just go back to doing CARs or capsular CARs, which you're coming to, or just watch and learn how the coaching goes. Everybody probably right side, I think, face down, arm 90 degrees or perpendicular to the body, 90 degrees at the elbow. Passive stretch in the front of the shoulder. Okay, passive stretch in the front of the shoulder. The shoulder blade itself should be relaxed. It's not like hunched up that you're trying to hold a phone to your ear. If you can't relax the shoulder blade again, try to come down a little bit. All right. It's important that we get into a good position so that we can get the right intention. And intention is more important than position. So you don't have to copy me and be all the way up here. Or if you can see somebody else on the screen, you don't have to be copying them. We want to try and find a stretch in the front of the shoulder. That's what I'm concerned about. Okay. Once you're there, I'll talk about pails and rails again. So it's the same system. We want to open up space. So we're going to load the stuff in the front of the shoulder by rotating towards the floor. So that means the hand's going to feel heavy. The elbow feels light. It's like the upper arm in your bone is rotating like a key in a lock. We'll build that up to 60, maybe even 80%. And then we will do the opposite way, where we're trying to externally rotate more and create space between your hand and whatever it's on. If it does come off the floor, that's fine. It just means that you're not at your end range. So just try and take yourself into a deeper passive stretch for the second round. If that was as clear as mud, I'm sorry. Face down. Feel that stretch in the front of the shoulder. Rib cage down. Take a breath. Think about the upper arm bone starting to rotate now. 20% pushing down into the block. All the sensation should be at the front of the shoulder now. 40%. Build that to 60 and hold. Be specific. It's a rotational element. You're not just flapping into the floor. Wrist is straight. Rotate. Load the stuff in the front of the shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to start switching that over now. So think about all muscles that would help you rotate the arm backwards. Elbow feels heavy, hand starts to feel light. It's connection with stuff that's underneath the shoulder. Okay, underneath the armpit. Maybe even the lats, the big wing muscle. Hold it at 60. Starting to keep trying to create space between your arm and or your hand and the block. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dial that intensity down. Relax. See if you can afford a little bit more. So whatever it is that you've got your hand on, or if it's just the floor, maybe you can go onto a little book now. You don't need to be able to do that. You can just slide it a little bit closer towards you. Take a breath. Second round. Still feeling that stretch in the front of the shoulder. When you're ready, 20% into the block. It's a rotation. Again, like I said, not just a flapping of the arm into the floor, but feeling like the upper bone is like a key turning in a lock. Up to 60 now. Shorten your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Upper arm bone starts to rotate backwards towards the wall behind you. Hand feels light. You might even get a little bit of cramping here on the underside of the armpit. Keep going. Hold it there at 60. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dial that intensity down. See if you can move a little bit more and just take 2 breaths. Okay, again, just like we did with the shoulder blades, let's download that new space. Let's put it into a more complex movement. So you can do this from standing. We're going to work now through capsular cars. If you weren't able to do that because of closing angle joint pain, maybe you can join in with this. Okay, so 90 degrees from the body, rib cage down. Bring the other hand across and put it on the rib cage on the same side. Take a breath. We're going to work through internal rotation as well. So you're going to bring that hand down towards the floor, maintaining the 90 degrees without the shoulder popping forward. Okay, so breathe out, breathe the rib cage down. Open back up. Stay in line. Try and work the fingers and the hand back towards the wall as much as you can. We're going to do this 5 times. You don't have to stay with me. What I would say though, in my own personal practice recently, as I've been doing this, I've been putting less tension into my fingers and my forearm. They're still active, but I'm not like white knuckling it. That enables me personally to catch the stuff in the rotator cuff where I can really connect with the actual idea of rotation rather than my fingers kind of like pulling my elbow down or just too much tension in my chest. Okay. Same thing on the reverse. So we work in the movement that we just did. As we work backwards now, let go of the fingers a little bit, and then you may be able to capture some of that stuff in the back of the armpit to give you more external rotation. 4, 5. Last one, down. Back up. Once you start to get towards that end range, that's when you can start to wind it up a little bit more. Sometimes use imagery in my own mind of like a fishing reel, or like some, you know, big sprocket that you would like use to get a drawbridge up. Okay, all those kind of little imageries can help connect, because I've never seen the inside of a shoulder in the flesh. All right, so, but that does help with the idea of rotation rather than just flapping the arm. Into the left arm now. Okay, don't be surprised if your left arm feels different to your right. You might have more room, you might have less room. Again, intention is more important than position. So if you have to be a bit flatter, fine. Or if you just don't have any room because you've got an injury, you've had an injury there or something, or a shoulder surgery, go and use the one up against the table or the chair. Or you can just use a door frame, okay? Like this, 90 degrees, and then you can start putting things underneath your hand, and that will take you into external rotation. All right, all of those things are achieving the same thing, which is that arm goes backwards into external rotation. Okay, here we go. Take a couple of breaths there, just so we get some sort of degree of passive stretch. I know that on my left I've got a little bit more room. So where's the stretch? In the front of the shoulder. If it's at the back and it's pinching pain, it's not good for you. Okay, try to relax the shoulder blade. I like to think about it floating like an iceberg towards my back pocket. That's a weird one, isn't it? But it works for me. Take a breath, keeping your intention on the front of the shoulder as we start to do our pales contraction, which is hand heavy into the block or the floor or the book or whatever it is. 20%, you're now feeling stretch and load into the tissues in the front of that shoulder. 40%. 60%. Squeeze the buttocks, drop the rib cage, bring the rest of your body to 60%. Keep those tissues in the front of the shoulder and your front of your mind. Hold for 10, 9, 8. It's rotation of the upper arm, not just flapping into the floor. 3, 2, quick as a flash. Change the intention, start to wind up that fishing reel. Don't let that shoulder blade float up towards your ear. Try and get space between your hand and whatever it is that it's on. If it comes up, that's fine. But don't worry if it doesn't, it just means that you're working towards your end range. Get that to 60 and hold. 3, 2, 1, relax. It may be I'm left-handed, so it may be the case that on the other side you felt like when you switched to the rails contraction, which is always the harder movement to do, that you couldn't help but feel that that shoulder was coming traveling up. That's why we say it's 60% in the target tissue. So don't rush. Okay, and even if you get to like 20% and you can start to feel compensatory movement, maybe that is like the equivalent of your 60, right? Because what we don't want to do is drill at high intensities where you're doing patterns or you're moving things that you shouldn't be moving. Because the higher the intensity, if that's happening at high intensities, that's the stuff your body remembers. Okay, take a breath. Second round, let that shoulder blade float back towards the pocket. Take a breath. Rib cage down, start pushing the hand into the block. Rotation of the upper arm like a kebab skewer or rotisserie skewer. 40. 60. Hold at 60. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try and get space between your hand and the block. External rotation. Oh, I'm really fighting the temptation to lift my shoulder. Space between your hand and the block. All the stuff underneath your armpit. Maybe even the lat. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Take a breath. Maybe see if you've got a little bit more passive room. Then we've got to do something with it. Oops. Capsular cars, same thing. So we work internal rotation as well. Hand up. It's like one of those. Oh, I'm going to put my head on the block here. Japanese waving cats. You know, the golden cats? Like that. It's an excellent example of internal, external rotation. Soften the fingers a little bit, catch it from the shoulder in, work it backwards without flaring the rib cage. That's what that hand's there for. Keep it down. When you start to get towards your end range, exhale and feel that rib cage dropping down towards the floor. You'll probably get a few more degrees. 3. 4. Like I said, as you work towards your end range, increase the intensity a little bit. 5. All right, guys. Here comes the training bit for the shoulders. We will do it single arm, okay? Now, you won't need to be as high as you were because obviously that's in your end range. So we want to concentrically train this stuff now. So this is like your bicep curls, except for a weird shoulder movement. If you have a tennis ball or a ball of socks, you can use that, okay? You don't need it. You can just squeeze your fist. And if you're feeling like you're dominating too much with your fist with this exercise, don't use it, just use your hand, that's fine. It's the same position, but this time you're going to be inside your passive range or your end range, okay? And you're going to concentrically move in that space. A little bit like what you just did with the passive, with the capsular cars. What I don't want, or as we're here, we're going to do repetition. So my right arm, and I will start to lift my hand off the floor, okay? All those things, I want to make sure that the shoulder blade's not moving around, okay? We're using that stuff underneath the armpit in order to get that hand up. If you're on the floor and your arm is coming up, say, like all the way up here, you're having too much of a run up before you get to the hard stuff. So that's where you could start building up. All right? If you were already on the floor and you couldn't get your arm up, okay, you are now ending up going to be basically doing an isometric, which is fine, all right? or you can go to the door and put your hand up against the door frame and find a range that you could get some concentric work done, okay? Most of us are going to be okay on the floor. Ball is optional. We're going to do 10 reps, all right? Remember, if your hand's coming up too much, that's too easy. If it's coming up, say, 1 to 2 inches, that's you're on the money. When I call 1, what I mean by 1 is you start dialing up the intensity. It's not just a light switch and, okay? Target tissue underneath the shoulder. Alright? Face down. Right arm. Take a breath. Rib cage down. Squeeze your bum. Don't let the shoulder blade move. And 1. Oh, Christ. Down. 2. 3. It's worth saying here, if you feel like you're getting sloppy, just stop. 4. 5. 6. You see a man here who's just, his ego's too big. I've had to adjust. 7. 8. 9. Only 1 to 2 inches, guys. 10. Left side. Face down. 90 degrees to the perpendicular to the body. Take a breath. Rib cage down. And 1. 2. 3. Rotation of the upper arm. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Immediately over. Other side. 1. As you start to fatigue, watch that shoulder doesn't keep floating up. 2. Okay, if it is starting to float and you can't stop it, get rid of your block. Take your ego away. 4. 5. 6. Rotation of the upper arm, stuff underneath your armpit. 7. 8. 9. 10. Other side, straighten. Lift. Push the rest of your body into the floor. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Rotate. 9. Rotate, elbow heavy, hand light. And lift. I can't wait until this lockdown is over and I can start, like I've said it before, eventually I will have somebody in here and I will just coach, because there I was concentrating so hard, I just lost myself. I wasn't good coaching. Right, okay, so we asked you to have this. You can do it with a tea towel, okay? That's not a problem. You can do it with a normal towel. Most people will be okay from the floor. We're going to just continue some of this concentric work. We're going to do some flexion stuff out in front, okay? What that looks like is face down, arms out in front, probably shoulder width, or maybe some of us need to be just outside shoulder width. Ah, so tall. Okay, blocks if you need it. Probably start with the first set from the floor. Okay. Hands out in front, head down, rib cage down. If you don't have a pole, you're pulling on a towel. All right. If you don't have that, you can just lift your arms independently. What I want you to think about is trying to keep your elbows. Don't let your elbows come up towards the ceiling. So you want to rotate them in towards the floor. You take a breath. And then we're going to see how high you can get your hands off the floor. Lift. And back down. Same rule as before. If they're coming up like 6 inches, it's too easy. So get something underneath your hands. If you don't have anything and you've been struggling this whole session, you could just increase the demands of your body and you can lift from like here. And that's like super solid. We're just doing 2 sets of 5 with a 5-second hold. If you can't do the 5-second hold, do not worry. Hands out. Shoulder width or just outside, rib cage down. Breathe. And start to increase intensity into the target tissue on the back of the shoulders. Elbows towards the floor and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. And lift. 3, 2, 1. Lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up. Shoulder circle. Cross the body. Up. Rotate. Back. Back. Rotate. Up. Don't worry, guys. If you're worried about where the hips are, I can get it done in 5 minutes. Don't worry about that. Other arm rotate. Obviously, as we've added in more and more stuff with the shoulders, I lose time on the thing. But that's okay, because we did a lot of hips last month. Back down, no rest for the wicked. Last 5 reps on the shoulders. Whew. Oh yeah. Sorry, you guys can be down there. Cat, my apologies, I've completely forgotten. You can just take your towel or your pole and start to just lift up as much as you can like this. Okay. Can't keep track of all these babies. Ugh. Take a breath. Ready, 2, 1, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. Lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try not to lift through your lower back, just the shoulders. 3. Elbows pointing towards the floor as close as you can get them. 4. 3, 4, 5. And lift. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well done. Shoulders fried. Everybody will be okay in this position now, or your own personal variation thereof. We're going to go to the 90-90 position. I suggest, let's go everybody left leg forward, like so, okay? That's your sort of start position. If you're immediately not comfortable here because you feel like this is going to explode, you can pull this leg in and then you can start to lean out to the side. Some of us will need to be this open And what I want to do is I'm going to set the timer. We're going to try and do a lift of the knee and the ankle, like so, and then draw circles with that knee. 30 seconds one way, 30 seconds the other way. Now, I want it to be quite difficult. So the higher you are, or the more vertical or upright you are, the harder it will be. Okay? If you need to adjust it through the set, you start getting further away, open up that angle, and then you can get this end range control. 3, 2, 1. Lift that leg up, knee and ankle, keep them the same level. Start drawing a circle. You can even try and keep that foot higher than the knee. You should not be able to talk and do this. If you can, oh Christ, go up a bit. 4, 3, 2, back the other way without rest. Small control. Keep it there. Keep rotating. Two, 1, and relax. Other side. Ready? Don't be surprised if this one is different to the other one. You might need to lean further out, you might need to lean further forward. First of all, you just need to get it off the floor. Find a leverage point that you can do that. Then you can start the movement. 2, 1, go. I'm not going to tell you which way to go. Circles. All of this stuff in the top of the jeans pocket. Trying to get that foot slightly higher than the knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back the other way. 30 seconds. Oh God. Keep it there. Small, controlled, constant tension. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more minutes work from the bear sit, which is this position. Like a teddy bear, straight back. You're going to do external rotation, which means to try and lift your foot off the floor and get it higher than the knee. And then you're going to make a circle that way, and then a circle this way. But without that knee wafting in and out. All right? Here we go. 2, 1. Hands down, hands behind. Lift one leg off the floor and start drawing a circle. Trying to get that foot higher than the knee each time. As you fatigue, it'll get bigger and bigger. Try to refine it a bit more. Keep your chest upright. Oh my God. 5, 4, 3, 2. Same leg, other way. Don't worry if you've tired and you've had to stop. Keep it there. Push into the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my goodness. 60 seconds on the clock. Other leg. Find the position first, fighting to get that foot higher than the knee. 2, 1, lift. Push your other hand in. Keep it out here rather than this. Circles. Use those hands to create stability. From this hip. Like I said, not just wiggling the knee around. Keep going. And the other way. 30 seconds, this is it. A bit of end range control to finish. 10. Jesus Christ. And relax. 5 breaths, hands on your legs. Trying to just wiggle. If you've really got to go because you've got somewhere to be, which is kind of unlikely, but I get it. That's it. Everybody else, 3 breaths. You can come forward if you want to. Last one. You can go backwards.